Alright, so then we move on to another question here. Factorize the following completely. 4x squared minus 5x plus 1. So let's look at this. 4x squared minus 5x plus 1. We can basically use various approaches depending on the method that is most close to us. Alright, one learner may be able to use trial and error method, and that is obviously there's a highest common factor of 1. So obviously that highest common factor of 1 leaves us with 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, after being able to see that there are 3 terms in the expression, we then ask, is there a highest common factor that is 1? So obviously in brackets we have 4x squared minus 5x plus 1. But what you can see is that in this bracket we have something that we call an advanced trinomial, which means, in other words, it's not as straightforward that we find just factors of 1, alright, which when we multiply give us 1, and when we add they give us negative 5, because those are not even there. But what we need to actually check out is an interplay of factors for both 4, right, and the factors of 1, which can ultimately be able to, when I add everything together, give me negative 5x for my middle term. So I strategically then obviously think of factors of 4, so that is actually 4 and 1. But of course, my x term would be x squared. Alright, now obviously there are other factors of 4. You could think of 2 and 2, but in this situation, 2 and 2 may not necessarily work. Hence we call this the trial and error method, and we play around with factors. Then factors of 1, we have 1 and 1. Alright, now trial and error, like I said, someone else may venture to say it's 2 and 2, and then obviously with 1 there's only just one option that we do have. Now since it's positive suggests that we have same signs inside the bracket, and they will be the same according to the sign of the middle term. So if you look at this now, alright, what we want to check is, can we get the middle term when we actually do our multiplying out with 4? Because remember, the multiplication of these two and the multiplication of these two added together should give us negative 5x if it works out. Let's check this one out. Negative 1, negative 1. Now the multiplication of that and that with the addition together should give us negative 5x if these factors are correct. So let's first check these ones out. Okay, what's negative 1 times 2x gives us negative 2x. What's negative 1 times another 2x? We get another 2x, negative 2x. Together we get negative 4x. Now this negative 4x is not negative 5x, so that means this trial and error method does not work. So we have to officially disqualify this one. Doesn't work at all. Let's check this one out. What's negative 1 times 1x? That gives us negative 1x. What's 4x times negative 1? We get negative 4x. So when we sum up these two together, we actually get negative 5x. Is this negative 5x? Definitely. So this works. Definitely works. 100% one way. So therefore we can say that our answer here is 100% correct using our trial and error method. So trial and error method requires you to actually explore, factors of 4 and check them out together with factors of 1 to see if when you add, all right, will you be able, when you multiply these two and multiply those two, the addition of these two, will they give you the middle term? Okay, you could see here the factors of 4, 2 and 2, okay, they are factors of 4. Then factors of 1, 1 and 1, they are factors of 1, but the multiplication of these two gives us negative 2x, the multiplication of these two gives us negative 2x, the summation gives us negative 4x, which is not the middle term, so this does not work. Okay, so that's trial and error method. Now alternatively, some of us may not be well versed with the trial and error method and may want to utilize a method that is a little bit more procedural. All right, so let's look at this approach. So what we can do for this method that I'm going to look at, we call it the AC method. So what we do is we multiply the 4 and the 1. 4 times 1 gives us 4. So basically AC, in that A, the coefficient of x squared, plus times the C, which is basically the constant term. So 4 times 1 gives us 4. Then what we try and do is that we try and find factors, all right, of 4, okay, which when we add together will give us -5, all right. So we can say -4 and -1, okay. That will work out perfectly because -1, 4 times -1 gives us +4, but -4 minus 1 gives me -5x when I add them together. So when I add these, it gives me the coefficient, which is -5, and that's what I want to find. You could have chosen to think of -2 and -2, but look at this. -2 minus 2 doesn't give me -5, so I'm not going to choose that. So what I do then is I go and rewrite this trinomial, and I replace the -5x with a -4x and a -1x. -4x, -x, and then +1. Remember, I still, when I add these two, get -5x. Do you see that? Then what I do is I group factorize. I factorize using grouping. Okay, so I'm going to group these first two terms and these two terms, and I'm going to take out the highest common factor, because that's what we do when we group factorize. So when we group those two, the highest common factor is 4x. What am I left with? X minus 1. Okay, then these last two terms, I group them, all right, but the first term is negative. Remember, when the first term is negative, sign, number, letter, I take out the negative sign because that's my first term. For the two terms that I've grouped, the negative sign is considered my first term for these grouped two terms. So since the first term is negative, I take out the negative sign as the highest common factor, -1 to be exact. What am I left with? X minus 1. Now you can see now I have 1, 2 terms. There's a common bracket, so I take out that common bracket, which is x minus 1, and I take out that common bracket, which is x minus 1. What am I left with on the left? I'm left with 4x. What am I left with on the right? I'm left with -1. Done and dusted. Okay, so you can see this factorization is the same. The answers are the same. Okay, typically questions like this are how many marks? They are 2 marks. So this long AC method ultimately leads you to the 2 marks that you are supposed to get. Or you can use the trial and error method, and the more you utilize the trial and error method, the more well versed you become with factors, the more you are able to develop them, the eye to be able to see the factors that are relevant, the more you utilize this method. So those who have become well versed in using the trial and error method become so good that they see the factors the moment they look at an expression. So it all depends on you working the method out. Or you can use the long AC method, and some of you may be well versed in it, and that's fine. In the comment section, guys, if there's any other method that you guys use, please let me know. That would be great. I'd love to actually explore new methods, but I hope this is helpful as you prepare for your exams and as you build up to the Trinity exam. Some of you are writing this Friday, so yeah, let's hope this helps a lot.